Hi there. In this video, I'm going to give you some great tips on how to choose and identify good basketball plays so you can help your team become much better offensively and defensively. And then I'll also show you where you can get actual plays, drills, videos, and practice plans to really take your coaching to the next level. But first, let's go over some of the fundamentals of choosing good basketball plays. Now, there's no shortage of resources for finding plays to use with your team. You can find them online in printed books, at clinics, scouting reports, diagramming them yourselves from games on TV. And the thing is that there are a couple of mistakes that coaches frequently make when deciding on what plays to use. There's also a simple system that you can use to avoid those mistakes and install plays that your team can use as effective scoring weapons. The first mistake is selecting a play to install into your offense just because you like the actions that it creates without giving any thought as to how it fits with the skills of your players. The second mistake is continuing to use the same plays that have worked for you in the past, even when you're coaching players with different skills from the ones who made the plays successful. Sets that are good basketball plays for other teams might not work for your current team. In general, good basketball plays have some fundamental characteristics that make them effective and difficult for your opponents to defend. So here's an 8-point checklist that I use to test each idea that I have for a new play before I present it to our team at practice. The first thing is, what is the purpose of the play? For example, is it a play designed to get the ball to the low post, to get a backdoor cut, an inside-out three-point shot? The second thing is, does it put our players in positions to utilize their talents? The third thing is, does it force the defense to guard multiple cuts, screens, and passes? Now, the fourth thing is, does it have secondary scoring options if the defense takes away our first scoring option? Number 5, does it have ways to stretch the defense both horizontally and vertically? That forces the defense to extend itself and cover more of the court. Which brings me to the 6th point, and that is there proper spacing? Players should be positioned about 15 to 18 feet away from each other to make it impossible for defenders to both guard the player they're assigned to guard and help on other players. This is very important. The 7th point is there false action away from the scoring option to occupy the potential helping defense? And the 8th point is, does the play include ball reversal? Initiating an action on one side of the floor, then swinging the ball to the other side of the floor gives you a chance to score against a defense that is adjusting to the changing positions of the offensive players and the basketball. Now, before I'm comfortable using a play in a game, we practice it for at least a week so that we can determine if it's working and also for our players to become comfortable with it. We never draw up a play in a huddle during a game and expect players to go out and execute it. That type of strategy and execution has very little chance of being successful. Now, I want to give you some times that you might want to run set plays. The first time is if you're behind or need to pick up the pace of the game against an opponent who is less talented than you are, then set plays can often result in quicker shots. A second time would be to exploit an advantage you have where one of your players is much better than the player that is guarding him. Another time would be to force one of your opponents to play defense and look to get a specific player in foul trouble. Another instance would be if you're having trouble with your regular offense, running one of your quick hits is a way to change the flow and hopefully jumpstart your scoring. And lastly, you can save plays, your best plays for the end of a close game so that the defense hasn't already seen them and isn't prepared to guard them. So here's some final thoughts on what makes good basketball plays. Run counters to your set plays. If you run a play called Yukon, have another play called Husky that is its counter. The counter should start like the original, then change a couple of cuts or screens in your counter. After you've run your initial play and the defenders are expecting you to do the same thing, call the counter, and if your players execute correctly, it should get you a quick scoring opportunity. And lastly, evaluate the success of your plays. Divide the number of points you've scored on each one by the number of times that you've run it. For each game and over the course of several games, you can use that ratio to determine which play is performing the best for you. Now, regardless of how well you draw up and explain your plays to your players, the one thing that all good basketball plays have in common is execution. Your players must set good screens, make sharp cuts, perfect the timing, make good passes, and most importantly, make great decisions with the basketball for your plays to result in points for your team. And, that's a very important point for youth coaches that are coaching young kids. You can basically just work on these fundamentals of setting good screens, sharp cuts, good passes, and those kind of fundamentals to really help young players learn offensive systems. Now, if you're looking to really take your team to the next level in terms of how many wins they're getting and how well they're playing, and you also want to make your coaching job easier and less frustrating, then go ahead and click the link in the description box below this video, and you'll be able to get some great drills, plays, practice plans, and videos on really helping you coach a winning team and make sure that your team wins much more consistently. So go ahead and click the link in the description box below. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.